Hello and welcome to the Dominion Daily for September 2nd, 2025. We got a Menagerie Kingdom today. And thinning-wise, we've got Banish and Displace. So no actual trashing unless you want to count trashing things into Animal Fare. Actions from Hostelry, Village Green, Mastermind. I suppose double activated Paddock doesn't seem super relevant. Draw from Cavalry, Paddock, Barge, Mastermind with supplies or other sources of horses, or just Barge or whatever. But there's also Stampede for even more horses. All right. Yeah, so plenty of draw, plenty of actions. Plus buy, you've got Stockpile, Barge, Animal Fare eventually. And then there's also gains from Displace. Cavalry returns your buy. Supplies can give you horses that you can turn into other things with Displace. So there's, I guess Stampede also can do that, and Paddock. Yeah, so there's plenty of gains as well. Oh, and Cavalry. Lots of ways to gain horses. So I think... What we want to do is... I guess the question here is, are we going to end up wanting to do, like, Displace province stuff? Probably. Displace, like, 4 costs into a gold, and then gold into province, and then province into gold, and so on. There's other fun stuff we can do with Displace as well, like displacing horses into 5 costs, and then get the horses back. If you displace a village green and then get that back, it gets discarded, so that activates the village greens on discard ability. So yeah, I think Displace should be pretty good and relevant here, but I think we're probably mostly going to want to clean up our starting cards with Banish, like try to just draw big and then get off a big Banish, in particular with the coppers, even though copper to supplies is fine, but I think we'd rather be targeting the bigger stuff with Displace. That might also apply to estates. That one I'm less sure about. I guess it might depend on when we actually get the Displace going. But speaking of that, one question is, do we do a Banish open? So we could just open Banish Stockpile, and then we still have a 10-card deck, but instead of having 7 coins in it, we have 10 coins in it. That has the potential to get us to displace pretty quickly if that's what we want. And displacing a state to cavalry is pretty good anyway. The other thing it would potentially let us do is like Stampede. Stockpile Stampede has some synergy because Stampede counts cards in play and Stockpile doesn't stay in play. So it's relatively easier to Stampede while still like making progress. So I think that sounds good. And I guess I'm not really sure what else would open on 4 anyway. Like, you could take a cavalry and hope to draw 2 coppers and then take a supplies or something like that, but that doesn't really seem... Hostelry and Village Green don't really do anything yet. I guess double Stockpile is an option, but I think this is better. The bot goes for supplies over stockpile. That's interesting. All right, so unfortunately, we do only hit 4 here. Next turn, we're going to have 7. Hmm. Assuming we don't buy a cavalry here. I still don't think I want to do, like, it doesn't really accomplish that much. 7, what are we going to do with 7? If we want to replenish the stockpile, like, we could buy stockpile cavalry, and then have the possibility to draw back into the stockpiles, which is interesting. 7 isn't quite enough for, like, stampeding to be good, I don't think, because we'd go, like, stampede supplies, and then we wouldn't have plus buy in the deck, so the stampede wouldn't really do too much. I guess the other thing we could do is just go ahead and take a displace and a supplies, and we wouldn't have plus buy, but we would have the displace. But if we, as I'm thinking about, banish an estate here, then having displace at that point isn't really that good. Like, what we need is, like, if we, I mean, I guess if we were to stampede into a big banish, I think that could be good, but we would need enough, like, other money to make that work, which we wouldn't have if we didn't have the stockpiles in our deck. So yeah, I think Is the other thing we could consider big hostelry? That makes sense. I don't think it does. That's for next turn. For this turn, I'm leaning pretty heavily towards just banishing this estate. Oh, I can't math. This is only 6. Wait, why did I? Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's 4 plus 6 is 10, not 7. Okay. So we're not going to be buying stockpile. What did I say we were going to get? Stockpile cavalry? Yeah, we're not going to be doing that. We could go double stockpile. Collide a couple of those. Or collide enough of those, and we can do, like, stampede stockpile or something. I don't know. Into the big banish. I mean, I think we've got to get the stockpiles out. Now the question is, like, is it better to just get another stockpile or to get supplies? I think stockpile's got to be better. Well, if we stampede here with 2 stockpiles left in the deck, we could we'd get the 6 coins from the stockpiles plus the 7 coins from the coppers if we played it all. Alternatively, yeah, we'd be 1 coin short of being able to buy like stockpile banish off of just the stockpiles. If we see both of our stockpiles next turn, and this turn we buy like banished supplies, then what? We have next turn we'd have 10 coins. We do like stockpile stampede supplies or something like that. Okay, I think. I think I like going banish supplies here, and then doing the like next turn. If we only see one stockpile, we have 7 coins, and we buy supplies stampede. Then we'll have 1 stockpile and 2 supplies in our deck. That would be 5 non-copper coins, but like I mean, I guess we could keep a copper around, be able to, or 2 to be able to buy like stockpile banish or something like that. Yeah. Okay, well we drew them both anyway. I think I would. Did I miscalculate this again? I think we just buy stockpile stampede, right? And we get, yeah. I don't think that's what I said to do, but I think I miscounted again somehow. I think I said I'd have 10, and I'd be able to get us supplies. Whatever. I guess we're not actually drawing all of the cards in our deck. So down there we have a stockpile and a copper. So 9, 10. If we were to buy a cavalry, that would take us back to 9. And then we could buy banish and get all of the coppers, or we could just leave the 1 copper and buy banish on 10 plus some other stuff. The other thing we could do is big hostelry overpay instead of banishing the coppers. Blech. Getting the coppers out of the deck is definitely better for like reliability. But like in theory, if you have enough draw, and having, like, retaining the payload has some value. I think I would prefer to do the banish, though. The one thing that's a little bit awkward about it is, like, if we want to get the stockpiles back, which we don't, I guess we don't necessarily need to do, because we'll still have one in the deck. So I'll have like a supplies, a horse, a stockpile, a copper, and a thing, and we'll see all of it. We could go ahead and get a displace. Plan to displace the horse into a 5 by maybe a stockpile. I think that sounds good. Yeah, the bot's lining up this mastermind thing, but the thing that I think is less good about that is just that, like, oh, they just trashed a horse into an animal fair. That's kind of a weird choice. Without having gotten rid of all the coppers, like, the mastermind is not necessarily going to collide with anything in particular. Like, they had the supplies, right? So, like, masterminding a horse from the supplies is nice, obviously, but, and in fact, we may want to set that up now. So yeah, we are going to need a source of plus actions, but potentially that source of plus actions could be mastermind, and we can just take a turn to play mastermind. That is an option. Alternatively, we buy a village and we don't worry about getting our stockpiles back. Take the mastermind. Well, hold on. If we're gonna buy a village anyway, it probably might as well be a hostelry that comes with a horse. So if we do that, then next turn we can displace a horse and then use another horse to draw the card that we displace into. Yeah, I think that sounds good. They did manage to line up the mastermind and the barge. Okay, so what do we want to displace the horse into? Honestly, it could just be a stockpile. Like, yes, we would end up top decking some of them. Because we got 4 stockpiles, so we'd top deck 3 of them, but we'll also top deck a horse, so we'll get to mastermind the horse through the, and draw through those stockpiles. And then we can buy another 5, which would probably be another mastermind to make sure we have a pair of those. Okay, now we've got 3 stockpiles on top already. Do we want to get our other stockpiles back? That's an option. Oh, or we could also... Hold on. We could buy a cavalry and get money back for it. Play these 2 stockpiles. Buy a okay, so how does that end up looking? We buy cavalry, we draw 2 stockpiles, we have 2 coins, we play the 2 stockpiles, we have 8 coins, 9 or 10 coins. We can get Mastermind Hostelry if we want to get another horse. Or we could get the stockpiles back now. Probably go further than that and like... Well, I guess it doesn't really make sense. The cavalry would be in our discard pile, so it doesn't make sense to like trigger a shuffle and draw back into stockpiles and all that, probably. But I think I like the line where we get the cavalry. And then... Yeah, do we take another hostelry or do we take another 5? Like, we're gonna have plenty of plus actions. So maybe we should set up a barge or something. Let's do that. Wait, we really actually immediately overdraw? For some reason, I thought we were going to have more cards than this. Okay. So now we can displace the horse and get it back immediately if we want to. We probably... Probably want to get our stockpiles back again. We could do that in the buy phase with cavalry, or we could displace into it. Typical menagerie board with too many options. We've got 4 terminals to play, and we've got 4 like terminal actions available. So unless we want to like... Well, we probably can't do anything like super complicated. What would be good is to get another mastermind going, to increase our like, you know, to be able to do like mastermind displace and stuff. But for this turn, oh wait, we've got the hostelry, right? So we could get another mastermind. So maybe what we should do... We could displace to stockpile. Play cavalry, trigger the shuffle with hostelry, end actions. Buy mastermind cavalry or something like that. Um. Hmm. Do this. 5 stockpiles. Mix in some horses. Do this. Might as well play a horse. Horse. Okay, so that's 2 horses, which means there's 1 horse and 2 stockpiles down there. No. Wait. 3 horses in there. Played a horse, played a horse. What's the other card in there? 5 stockpiles. We have... Oh no, we already had 1 in hand. So we've only drawn 3 stockpiles. So it is... Okay, it is 2 stockpiles and a horse. Okay. So... We could just leave that stuff there. 12, 13, 14 coins. Or we could buy some cavalries. Well, no, wait. We're going to need to get... If we want to get to the mastermind, that we're going to buy. Right. So we could play the barge now for draw. And then we buy mastermind, something in cavalry, and maybe like try to play the cavalry. I think we'll have enough draw with the double mastermind that it's fine to play the barge now anyway. So we need at least this much money for mastermind and cavalry. If we just do it this way, the cavalry will draw itself. We won't be able to play it though. We could add in 4 more coins, get another village. Might as well be a village green, I guess, at that point. And then the village will let us play the cavalry. And then the other thing we can do, we have this horse. We can play the stockpiles and then get them back. We wouldn't be able to draw them all. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's actually a good idea. It's a lot of stockpiles. I think we can get them back at the end of the turn. That seems fine. But getting them back now seems a bit dangerous. So I think I'm just going to go Mastermind, Village Green, Cavalry. There is some chance here that we don't actually draw the Village Green. And then we have to spend the horse. I guess that won't be the end of the world if that's what happens. Yeah. We still net horses from this process, so. Okay. So yeah, we can get our stockpiles back. I think that's probably a good idea. Just because that way we can use our displace to do something else. And then we could just take another Village Green. Or we could take some supplies. Like, having more supplies in the deck does mean that we can do tricks that I have been kind of avoiding doing it so far. Maybe I shouldn't have this turn. Maybe I should have specifically play the supplies so that you can draw the horse after you buy cavalry, so that you can then like draw into like more stockpiles. Like, if we have more supplies, that means we get to play the supplies. Like, if we have enough draw to draw it all up in the first place, then we play the supplies, we buy a cavalry, and we can get like more stockpiles back into hand. So that is definitely nice. And again, we probably don't need the plus actions, although I said that last time, and then like we kind of did. That's the counter argument. Obviously, like 2 masterminds is going to give us more actions, but we do have like, well, we potentially are going to want to mastermind the displace for one thing. Yeah, I think I'm just going to take another Village Green. All right, do we just want to play another horse? We could play the barge. Getting the extra actions is pretty good. It's too bad that we didn't even have the option to do the displays. You know, I was talking about like gold into province stuff, but I don't know. We have a lot of stockpiles. Maybe we can just find some pile out. There's another Village Green down there. So we don't necessarily need to play this horse or the barge. Be good to get another mastermind, obviously. We can just do that with the replace. Or I mean the displays. The bot masterminded a mastermind, but it doesn't really have that much like good stuff in its deck, does it? I guess it didn't. Yeah, it displaced a horse into a barge. There's 2 barges in the displace. It got a supplies, but it didn't play a supplies. So it doesn't have a horse on top of its deck. I mean, I guess if it finds the barge, it'll probably be all right. But if it doesn't, or one of the 2 barges, anyway.
I honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if we could win this turn, because if we could just like play our stockpiles, get a couple stockpiles, like and like cycle like that, we'll accumulate a whole bunch of money, and then we can probably pile on masterminds and estates. Maybe we should be looking at displace into stockpile for that reason. No, that probably doesn't make sense. It's probably better to just use displace to gain a mastermind. But if we're going to do that, we'd want to do it at the end, because we wouldn't actually want to like care about playing the mastermind. And the card we'd want to displace would be mastermind if we could, but we can't. So I don't know. I mean, a horse obviously is fine. I guess cavalry would be an option too. Especially because if we're going to buy cavalry anyway, we could discard it. I'm going to play this village green. Okay. We found our stockpile. We did not find... Does the bot have a stockpile? Yes. Okay. Okay, so if right now we do play all this stuff, we might as well play the supplies for the reason I was talking about with the horses. We play the cavalries. I was talking about displacing the cavalries, but I mean, we're going to buy a cavalry anyway. We could displace that cavalry. So we play the cavalries. We play all the stockpiles and the supplies to top deck the horse. We get 21, 22, 23 coins. We buy... I find it really hard to believe that that's not going to win without doing the math. Basically, we're looking at, we need 10 coins for the masterminds, 16, so 26 with the estates, plus, so 6 is 32, and we're already at 23 from one like stockpile loop. So yeah, I think we may not be able to get through the full loop like an additional time. I guess emptying the calories is another possibility. Seven stockpiles. Just wondering if it actually makes more sense to buy the stockpile now, this stockpile now, rather than trying. I mean, if we get all that money again, we have all the money that we need. We don't need to draw into them an additional time. So I think it does make more sense to just get another stockpile now. I guess Village Green is also a possible displace target. Like Horse is better for drawing than Village Green is. All right, we found 8 of our 9 stockpiles. We played 1, 2, 3 horses out of 4 horses. How does that work? We drew the cavalry. We have a stockpile down there, and we have a horse. Oh no, we have 9 stock. No, yeah, stockpile, horse. It must be another horse, right? Oh, we drew the supplies horse, right? Wait, no. I'm confused. Gain 5 horses. Played this one from our deck. Oh, the cavalry drew that horse. Right. Okay. And then we played 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. But the first one was the one that we already had in hand. So I think it is 2 horses. Okay. Well. Yeah, it is. Alright. So maybe we could have gotten a little bit more money if we hadn't done this. We would have top decked a bunch of stockpiles, but that seems like it would have been fine. But this is also fine. So we do horse to mastermind. We do have to end on estates. We don't have enough money for something else. I do wonder. There was no way we were ever winning on provinces, but I do wonder whether there was some line that emptied on duchies. Like, I mean, before buying the 2 masterminds, we have 40 coins. We can buy all the duchies. We just can't buy anything else. But, like, All right, that one, that one was pretty crazy. It definitely broke my brain a bit trying to optimize it, and I don't doubt that I underplayed it. But still, overall, think like the general idea of like banishing the coppers is, I do think, is better than what the bot was doing. Like I was saying with the thing I was saying with the hostelries earlier is like if you can keep gaining hostelries and discarding the coppers and getting the horses, then in theory, if you have enough masterminds, you mastermind the horses, and then you get more draw out of that than you're costing yourself, like, to have to draw the coppers back up and then discard. Like normally, you know, you get a hostelry, you discard all your copper, and then it's sort of draw neutral. The horses draw the coppers again, and then you get another hostelry and blah blah blah. But if you're masterminding enough of the horses, and granted there are other horses to mastermind, so from an opportunity cost standpoint, I don't know that that makes sense anyway. But I mean, I think like that sort of thing is like maybe a possibility. But I think just banishing is stronger. So I like the general early game idea of like use stockpiles to get like banish and stampede stuff and get thin, and then go from there. The displace definitely turned out to be less significant than I thought. It was most impactful right after we got it, when we didn't
like our deck wasn't that big and we didn't have the ability to draw too much, but we could just do a little bit of that. But really the big thing is that because the bot let us just take all the stockpiles and we could just do stockpile stuff, which I'm very much not used to doing because I basically never play games where I have uncontested access to stockpile. So I don't, like my ability to take advantage of that might be not the best, and that may be why I like underplayed this. That may definitely be a contributing factor. But yeah, I mean, because like if the bot had been contesting the stockpiles, they would have run out a couple turns before the end of the game, and then we would have been out of stockpiles. Then we would have had to do other stuff, or transition our deck to doing other things to generate payload. Like, and maybe that means we would have taken some paddocks or some animal fairs, or maybe that means we would have just taken more displaces and done displacey stuff. I'm not really sure. We never really had to consider like how to handle that because the bot did not force the issue. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.